By way of introduction, my name is Darlene Burke, and I've been a resident of the Hills since July of 2022. I'm here today to provide public comment regarding unfortunate and inappropriate behavior demonstrated by two of our public elected officials within a public forum regarding a post I made about an alleged traffic violation for which my son was cited on May 2nd, 2025. I'd also like to address the inadequate communication plan of the City Council within the change of the nature regarding the ordinance for the speed limit reduction. Within 50 minutes of my post on Neighbor, the mayor contacted the Travis County Sheriff's Office to obtain information regarding the alleged violation and proceeded to post the specific information he obtained within the public forum. Both the state of Texas and the Code of Ethics defined by the Hills clearly stipulate that public servants are prohibited from misuse of privileged access to private information, particularly as it pertains to non-governmental business. The residents of the Village of the Hills must be able to trust that their elected officials will act with integrity, good judgment, and not abuse their access to privileged information with the intent to harm and disparage their constituents. The City of the Hills Code of Ethics also requires our council members to act in a manner free from intimidation, hostility, or other adversity. Council member Marietta's repeated posts regarding the adult son living at home with his mom were of no relevance to the discussion surrounding my ask in the community feed and in direct contradiction of the Code of Ethics. My specific ask was in regard to a grace period, one in which I was subsequently discovered Officer Lopez confirmed would be in effect when asked about this at the April 8th City Council meeting. In implementing an ordinance that involves civil and potentially criminal violations impacting driving records, insurance costs, fines require this council to enact best practices regarding communication efforts and change management. To date, I've been unable to find evidence of a documented communication plan on our public websites for the City of the Hills or for the POA website, leading me to assume that no one was drafted, and that the council assumed that every resident in the community was actively reading the villageofthehills.org website, to which a simple review of the traffic would have indicated to be false. That the council assumed that every resident had an account on Neighbor and uses it regularly, to which a question regarding account ownership and usage would also reveal this to have been false. And of note, there was no mention of the ordinance in the Neighbor news section. However, we were notified on the 30th that pets must be kept on leashes, so clearly that was important. The council assumed that every resident would catch and read the single email sent in the middle of the afternoon the day before the change. The email subject line mentioned a coming change in the speed limit, but neglected to mention that the change would be effective the next day. The council also assumed that every resident in this community has perfect vision, unaffected by the aging process, and that we don't have anyone in the community with degenerative eye conditions. Green tone signs with excessively small text placed against greenery throughout the village the day of the change demonstrated a negligence in the lack of ADA consideration, as well as lacking any adherence to the traffic signage standards, either universally accepted or set forth by the Texas Department of Transport. Finally, the council assumed that not a single resident in the community would appreciate
Darlene, your 3 minutes is up.
Okay. I will wrap it up.
Moving on to Mike Wilson.
I echo Darlene's comments, and I will, as they say, yield the floor.
All right. Thanks, Mike.